So tell Lee Pauser about your haircut.
Okay. I just recently realized that I don't like going to a place to get my haircut, and I think it's too expensive, and I also am just too lazy to make an appointment. Is the honest truth.
Is it that or is it your latent fetishization of your own hair?
Okay, so coming from the two bald Strehle boys up here, the one guy with hair is gonna spit some truth on you.
All right, spit it.
Yeah, because you're so attached to it.
Yeah,
It's true. You could give the most clear and cogent opinion.
It's true, and I've said this a million times, and I'll say it again. I remember when you guys were seniors, and you went out and you got a haircut, and it was just a little too short. And I remember being like, I think Dylan came home, and he was like, yeah, they got a little short, but it's fine. It'll grow back. And it never did. And then from there on, I have this fear of getting my haircut short, right?
Yeah.
So I got to keep it intact constantly. Also, I'm too lazy to make an appointment. So I decided to ask my girlfriend to cut my hair.
Okay.
It's summer. There's no, there's no reason
There's
not
not
to.
a lot of stakes involved.
No.
At least that is what you thought.
Yeah, exactly. So we get up there at my apartment right now, and one of my roommates has cut hair before with another one of my friends. I didn't know this going into it.
So you went with him instead of your girlfriend?
At times. So what happened was...
So it was a haircut by committee.
Yes, exactly. 2 or more people on the haircut. So
when 2 or more people gather in its name.
But so I got up there. He just kind of showed her the ropes, and then she went for it. And then at one point there's a little bit of trimming and texturizing that Ruth didn't really know how to grasp. So Jack, my friend, was like, I'll take care of it. You just go and, fast little clip, right around the ear until he just snips my ear straight. And I'm just, there's a little bit of a gash there still. I
remember we received on the family group chat a text that was just a napkin covered in blood.
Yep.
The haircut's going great.
It's
guys.
going great. There's room for
Either the
improvement.
haircut is going great or Silas has become a woman.
Yeah.
Okay, big shooter. So yeah, I had to hold that up awkwardly for the rest of the time I was getting my haircut, in constant fear that those scissors are gonna, connect with my earlobe one more time. But it turned out decent. Like, it was better.
You know what? You don't look like you got a backyard.
Exactly.
haircut. Yeah.
That's the
honestly,
thing.
Silas, I'm gonna be very frank with you. To me, you look almost exactly like you did.
Okay. You know what? I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Just a little trim, just a little bit of a trim.
You can't have it too long, otherwise it won't grow back, right?
Exactly.
So,
just small.
Yeah, because I remember the last time I did a haircut by committee. I'm sure it was a friend of ours, friend of the show, fellow Brain Trust member, Jake Coonrat. But all he had was he wanted everybody to shave his head. We all got in a circle outside, and it was on 4th of July, so we had a couple of drinks and shaved his head on this front lawn. So very similar, I guess, but yours required a little more nuance.
Yeah. I think when you're working, it's like when working with a fine piece of marble. At times you have to treat something with care and precision, and then other times you can just, when you're working with Mount Everest, you can just throw dynamite on that bitch and just let it go. Right? So I think those.
Well, I think that analogy totally falls apart, because in this my hair is definitely not Mount Everest.
This is true.
But I'm the one that you throw the dynamite at.
Okay, we'll change to fine piece of marble and then a rock that you're hitting with a sledgehammer, right? So just one of them, you can annihilate it and it doesn't really change. It just becomes a smaller rock.
Yeah.
Well, rip, dude. Well, jeez. Oh, so I was saying, you look pretty similar, post your trim.
Yep.
My wife and I have gotten into several arguments at this point, because she has very long hair, and she'll just on her own cut down 1 or 2 inches off of her long hair. Just to trim it, right? And then I'm the bad guy because I don't notice that she's cut 2 inches off her hair.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I mean, at those degrees, right? Maybe if you had short hair to begin with and you had a backyard job, it would look like it was happening. But with your long hair, it all washes away. It all disappears, at least to me.
I mean, I think there is more room for mistakes when it comes to long hair. And not just mistakes, there's more room for, you can just go ham and chop off 3 inches and you can't notice it. I personally don't notice anything also, you know, but I've been told that my hair's shorter now. So I'm fine with it. It's the same thing like you were talking about.
As long as your girlfriend's happy though.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, that's part of the reason why I let her cut it.
Yeah.
Because if it goes bad and she doesn't like the haircut I get, who are you going to point the finger at?
I had my wife cut my hair twice. And I said it had to be twice because she said, I want to cut your hair. And I went to the Walmart and I bought an entire trimming set. And I was like, this is $30, $35. This is going to save me in Hillsdale County about 2 haircuts. You got to cut my hair twice.
Yep.
Right. The first time she spent a solid hour and a half on the internet, like learning the the tips and tricks.
Yep.
And it was okay, except for she made a major miscut. I think we talked about this on the podcast at my hairline. So there was just this divot.
Oh, okay, buddy. That's what happened. That's where it went wrong.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's where the hairline came from.
Yeah, it was this entire region right here that's covered by my hat, actually.
Yeah.
It was flowing beforehand.
Yeah.
But the second time, she was just like, I know what I'm doing. And she just winged it. And 20 minutes in, it was like, okay, maybe you should make an appointment.
Yeah. I think that's the dichotomy of the whole situation. Also, that's a little bit of a, I don't know, I feel like that's kind of a nice thing, though, because that's something to fall back on the whole time. Even if any miscut, you're like, you know what, I could go see a professional at any moment. So it's not really that big of a deal.
Yeah, but there are things like, say, throwing dynamite at Mount Everest.
Yes.
Where it might be a little too much, not very, very difficult for even a professional to repair.
Yeah.
Right. That's like going into the surgeon with, only half of a torso and being like, Doc, fix me up. There's only so much that they can do.
Yeah.
Actually, in that analogy, that analogy fell apart too, because in that analogy, they'd say, okay, they'll just cut you down to the head then.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
These guys don't know metaphors.
Yeah. Guys, we got Silas Strehle on the podcast. Much to, I know the audience is lamenting.
I think it's the first time that the three of us have been on.
Oh,
because I've been on twice. One time with the anime gang.
Anime club.
Mm-hmm.
So we talked about, this is actually a good follow-up to the anime club episode. We talked about how, once you all left the dorm and went off into your separate ways, that there was a chance that things would die. And you all were very confident that the anime club would endure and would be stronger than ever upon, you going off into your fraternal houses and such. How's the anime club doing? I haven't heard a lot about it recently in our conversations.
I'm just gonna name drop a fellow ex-anime. No, I'm not gonna say ex-anime club, but Dominic Papalardo, this guy, he may or may not be the downfall of the entire club.
Wow.
I'm a great
of the
friend
entire
with
club. So sorry, we say he's not showing up. Is he causing other people not to show up by his error?
No,
is he causing scandal?
No, we're such a tight knit group. You can't separate us. So when one guy doesn't show up, we don't partake. Because we got each other's backs. And maybe or maybe not, one of the people who I will not name, which I've already named, lived a solid 3-minute drive away and was unwilling to make that 3-minute drive on multiple occasions. So that, made a couple splinters in there, but I think we made it through a decent amount. Like we watched the entirety of Attack on Titan, and that is it. But that's
we got
a big
some fans
show.
of the audience.
It's a big show. And it's a great show. So, I'm glad that we did it. And also it's just a harder year.
All I'm hearing is excuses. No, okay, so let's talk about one of the ways you went wrong. You mentioned this earlier, which is you guys are good, tight-knit boys. You're not going to partake if somebody doesn't show.
Yeah.
This is the problem that every group of players in D&D makes on their first attempt, which is the only time we'll ever play is if everybody's there, right? And what ends up happening is that, life happens.
Yeah.
And one person's gone this week, another person's gone, 2 weeks in a row here, and then it all sort of falls apart. So all I'm saying is trim the fat, and that fat is Dominic Papalardo.
Yeah.
His last name does mean fat father. So
what I can say is, when you asked the question, right, it was the anime club. Did that hold together? And I was just commentating on that. On anime consumption, I've done so with different members of the club at separate times, right?
Yeah.
So Gabe and I went through almost the entirety of Vinland Saga recently, and it was just because both of us were free at similar times. So then we got it done.
Yeah.
So I would say that in that sense, we were still successful.
So wait, you
the
started
club as a whole.
You started the group chat that makes fun of everybody else in the main group chat?
No. That's just a direct message.
Yeah.
And it's not to the person I want to watch with. It's just to Dom to shit on him.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Pictures of you at game watching anime being
Yeah.
like, wish you were here, not.
Yeah. Get out of here, bud.
Goodness.
Man.
Well, I'm glad that you're at least still enjoying yourself. No, because I mean it was inspirational. Honestly, it was it was a good situation while you had it. You know,
I agree.
but like everything that young people do, you fly too close to the sun.
Yep.
You're too excited. You're too optimistic, and here
Icarus
we are.
out here, man.
Yeah,
it's rough.
exactly.
It's a rough
And
story.
yeah, now you're on the podcast and you don't have your boys to back
I
you
know.
up.
It's sad. Also, it's just, June. So no one else is here.
Yeah.
That also plays a part in it.
It would have been funny if I don't think actually in this new studio, this is something that I was contemplating. We could actually record a
No.
anime club
big
episode
group.
again. Maybe we moved the camera way back and then just sort of lined the entire back wall with people, but it'd be kind of tough.
Or we could have a camera facing one direction and a camera facing the other.
Whoa.
Like a seminar.
Yeah.
Shot, reverse shot
Yeah.
is what they call it. This is how
in
they
the
call it.
biz.
In the biz.
biz.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
Big shooter over here.
Yeah.
There's all the biz.
That's the second time you said big shooter. Enough of this Gen
And there'll
Z
be a
stuff.
third, okay?
Yeah.
Don't test me.
Yeah. So okay. Speaking of seminar, I'm seriously contemplating doing the Christian Weston Chandler lecture one of these days in the next few months, where I would get a.
You're just ripping off the.
I know, but that one's on Sonichu specifically. On the
Okay.
comics. Yeah. It would be.
Explain people what exactly you're.
So the
planning on
idea would be is that we would go to the college and reserve a room, a lecture hall, and we would just give a lecture on a topic of a fun topic, right? For me, it would be the history of Christian Weston Chandler, from
A storied history.
Ruckersville, Virginia, and provide because I was on Wednesday. I was hanging out with some boys. Two of those boys are in the room right now.
This is
Had
true.
no idea who this individual was. And I thought. Your life is better for it, but it's also core to our generation that you understand, how he was made and who he is.
Don't tell me that this is what the Dylan arc is.
No, the Dylan arc, because Shad's going to be on paternal leave here soon, so we're going to be entering the Dylan arc of the show. It's going to be the Dylan arc, and
For all you Dylan fans
dark
who
times.
refuse to listen to the show.
It's happening.
All you people who refuse to listen to the show because I give him too much.
That he deserves, but
This is what you get. You get the Dylan arc. So what do people have to look forward to at the Dylan arc?
First off, a lot less yapping from that side of the room. Let me tell you.
Oh, wow, zinger out
a
here.
lot less. What's the word I'm looking for?
Can you turn my cane
put
up?
downs. This is gonna be positive. It's gonna be a positive podcast. We're gonna just be talking about how great the person who is on the podcast is.
Oh,
We're gonna
okay.
build
All right.
people up. Right. That's what the Dylan
Sounds
arc's about.
dynamic. Sounds interesting.
Audience will love it. Audience will love it.
Oh goodness. No, it'll be interesting. Don't worry. I've got things up my sleeve.
You got surprises?
I got surprises.
Have you been hiding like actual high caliber guests?
No,
short sleeves of
I
yours?
have not been. No, I was actually thinking about having being like, oh, maybe this is the time I actually force
Work on booking.
force Dr. Hart to get out here and record the episode. But I'm like, but Shad would want to be on that episode. I don't
That's
want to.
true.
I don't want to throw
Traffic is traffic. I don't care.
Yeah. Okay.
All press is good press.
Dylan, could you give us 1 point? Like, what's one of the PowerPoints that will be on your presentation? for that?
So like what one of the funnily enough, they actually refer to in the community the historians of Christian Weston Chandler. Instead of arcs, they have his life separated into sagas. Right? So there's the classic Miyamoto saga, in which Christian Weston Chandler believed he was in direct correspondence with Hijiro Minamoto, which is the
Shigeru
Miyamoto. Thank you. The at the time head of Nintendo, believing that he was in negotiations to sell his licensed character, Sonichu, the combination between Sonic and Pikachu, for a game to be made about them. And so, things are separated in very distinct periods of time. So it's really easy to, on a whiteboard, to just categorize it in order from start to finish the sagas, right?
Yeah.
The different periods of time.
This isn't as much of a rare thing as you would think on the internet, though. Just communities exploiting mentally ill people
Yeah, true.
into just gaslighting them.
Yeah, well, no, it's literally, this is the first one. This is patient
This is
zero.
okay.
This is
Yeah.
the key example.
Because
right?
the more modern day one, it's a little more niche, but this guy named Daniel Larson.
Yes, Daniel Larson.
He has been
our
gaslit
president
into just about everything and
Yeah.
believing in everything. So this
Well,
is
so
the OG.
The interesting thing about Daniel Larson, and this is like niche within niches right
Yeah,
now, is
that's
that
true.
because of the TikTok age and all that stuff, like things have happened with him so much faster, right? It's like been expedited. Because Christian Weston Chandler, like the first major interaction with him was 2005, right?
Wow.
And it is
Yeah.
almost 20 years of history documented.
And since then, they've been in prison and they're now out on bail.
Yes, it's true. At this
All
moment.
because of the internet.
The internet. And so he, Daniel is gone through the entire arc
Bless you.
up
thank
until now, to the point of being in prison multiple times over the course of the last few years.
Yeah.
So anyway, again,
The classical term, I don't know if Dylan's going to use it, is lol cow.
yes,
Is
What?
a person who you milk for jokes.
Oh,
A lol
okay.
cow.
yeah, which is a
Okay.
total like
That's a-
early. That's like 2011.
That's a Kiwi Farms original
Yeah,
right there.
yeah.
But if people find someone to make fun of and
Yeah.
make public ridicule of, honestly, it's truly depressing. Though.
Yeah.
Yes.
Some of the stories of what people do to this
Oh.
guy, I mean, it's out of control.
Yes.
It's out of
It's
control.
absolutely terrible.
The thing about it is, if I were to give this lecture, I would literally have to open it with, "Hey, so if you usually like the kind of stuff that we put together, I want you to know, all right, that if there are children listening, they
Oh,
should
yeah.
not, and also that this will be darker
Mhm.
and more explicit than most anything I've ever done.
Yeah.
But it's like looking into the void and learning something from it. It's so important that we do so.
I saw.
It's like doom scrolling, except for you're at your job and you're watching
Yeah.
YouTube videos. Does your boss know that you're watching the history of Christian Weston Chandler while you're writing those memos?
I'm not doing it during work.
That's
There are
Okay.
75 episodes of the documentary, each one 45 minutes long.
Mhm.
Okay, there's a lot to get through. There's a lot to get through.
What were you saying, Silas?
I was saying this kind of goes to more niche
Get a little
internet.
closer to the mic.
Yeah, niche internet, fandoms. But do you guys know of Nathan Fielder
Yeah.
by chance? Have
Okay,
you?
that's
yeah.
not niche.
No,
Yeah.
But have you seen The Rehearsal?
I haven't watched the rehearsal, no. But
Have you, Dylan?
I haven't seen it yet.
It is. I watched the entire thing yesterday when I was feeling a little under the weather.
yeah.
It is the most absurd TV show I've ever seen in my entire life, and I think it is still blowing my mind to this day.
To this day, 1 day later.
Not even a full day later.
No, it's not. I finished at 10 o'clock last night. But it is, so it's the classic, the trope is just, the guy is just basically a sociopath that lays everything out on a piece of paper and he has people rehearse things, right? So it's
Yeah.
like, someone has to make a confession to one of his friends that he's been lying to for 15 years. And he goes to such lengths to the point where he builds the exact bar off-site, but it is to the detail, like to the balloon that flew up in the rafters. Everything is the exact way that it's going to be on the exact night. And then he goes in real life and manipulates the entire bar to make it also simulate, right? So he does these crazy things. But then the show, I thought that was it, right?
Yeah.
I watched the first episode 6 months ago, and I was like, oh, okay, that's a decent show. And I was bored yesterday. I was like, I guess I'll continue it. And that's one episode. The next 7 are just about one rehearsal in which this guy mentally messes himself up and implodes the entire show within itself, where he wants to be a father but can't be a father and simultaneously ruins 8 people's lives. But it's not actor. He legitimately ruins people's lives.
Yeah.
The worst one was, there's this little kid who he hired to play his son, and he didn't know the kid didn't have a dad. So he was a paid actor for 5 days, and he couldn't get taken away from him because he was so attached to Nathan Fielder now because he thought he was his father. So it was this insane show, and the rest of the show just goes into him trying to fix his mistakes. And the problem with Nathan Fielder is you cannot tell
What's a joke and
what's
is
the
it?
joke and what's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
speaking of video essays, Dylan might already have seen this exact video essay because the guy's obsessed with them. But it is literally like an hour-long video essay of this guy deep diving on every single aspect of Nathan Fielder's life. And he's like, I cannot find one flaw in this guy's quote-unquote character. So I have no clue if it's a character or not, or if he's legitimately a sociopath.
Yeah. I mean, I actually lean towards him being a sociopath. Yeah. Deep down.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, is that he obviously, if he is a sociopath, he must be fully aware of his comedic potential.
Yes.
True. That his sociopathy is funny.
Yeah.
Because otherwise he wouldn't make the content that he makes.
Yeah.
Right. He must be making jokes, but he must have a special ability to totally disassociate in the world in which he makes the jokes.
And I think you have to do prank content, because he's done a lot of prank content. To do prank content, you have to be partially a sociopath. Like, you have to be able to disconnect to the point of, gaslighting people, random people off the street.
It's just like using these people not as real people and using them as the actors in your skit in order to make content. So you're not using them or viewing them as people.
Yeah, which is not a very generous way to look at it.
But,
I imagine like sketch comedians, like Second City people or Upright Citizens Brigade people would be like, no, it's all about the cultural commentary and the way that the person you're pranking interacts with you is a part of that commentary. But like, again, I feel like you're just sort of using people to get chuckles out of others.
That's about it.
Yeah,
it's like, have you heard about improv everywhere?
Mm-mm.
Oh yes, classic.
It's the worst thing in the world.
Explain.
Improv is already terrible. Bad improv is the worst thing a human being can sit through.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sure there's
outside of torture in Siberia.
Yeah, I'm sure there's snuff films that are more pleasurable viewing experiences than sitting through bad improv. And I can say that because I've been in those skits. I've been in that room. I've been inflicting bad improv on people before. I know exactly what I'm doing, right? But improv everywhere is just where people will do like social experiments, essentially, where they act out improv scenes in real places. There was this TV show that was similar to this. I forget what it was called, but basically how it would work is that they would have like they'd be in a restaurant and they'd put up a bunch of cameras and then they would do something socially insane. Like have a black person come in and like start like being racially aggressive against them. Or like have a dad be told by his son that he's gay and then like start beating him in the middle of a restaurant. And then depending on how the people would react around them, they could like win money. So like if the person stopped the dad from beating his gay son, then they'd be like, congratulations, you're a good person.
Oh my goodness.
I forget what the show's called. I don't know. You might want to look it up or whatever.
Yes.
But
Josh is nodding about this.
It's called What Would You Do?
What would you do? Yeah, is what it's called.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And
I saw it once at a hotel where it was somebody collapsing in the middle of a square. Right?
Yeah.
There was like some park I think it was in New York. Not the grand one, but just one park. And some person falls over and people walk over and help him up. It's like, and now we got a guy to dress up like a homeless person and he's going to do the same thing. Will anybody go to help them? Nobody did. Nobody won the money.
Yeah.
So
jeez.
Now I do good things just in the hope that somebody approaches me and pays me for it.
They're filming a new
classic.
It's
series, right?
like Mr. Beast will walk up and be like, do you know how much money's in this briefcase? What if I told you?
There's another aspect of the rehearsal that was probably one of the more interesting episodes, was where he goes over the quote unquote Fielder method, where he tries to teach all these actors in LA how to get on a show like his. And it's just like where you would just take the role of another person.
Yeah.
Right? And he goes into these insane things and he basically tells these people to stalk other people to an insane point. So like he goes and he's like, first find someone, go to their work, right? And try and strike up a conversation with them, which is normal, right? Whatever. That's also, first off, bad, right? Just like singling out a random person that you don't know. And then he's like, do it again tomorrow and try and get deeper, and does things like this and try and copy their mannerisms, right? And then he tries to have them act out their job and no one can do it. So he makes them all enroll as that person's job for 3 weeks just to become closer to them. And then he has them scope out other people's living situations so then they can live in exact situations in which their person that they want to be like is living in.
Yeah.
And it just goes to these insane extents just for than to be a side character in this random ass TV show.
Yeah.
You know.
Which is, I mean, it's just an extension of Stanislavski, dude. Which you're gonna learn about in your theater history class. Dude. Dude. The man, dude, get ready. Get ready.
Yeah, we actually talked about this on the episode with Jake Coonrat about Fish Tank, which is like a similar thing where they basically did like Big Brother but schizo.
Yeah. Where
the cameras never turned off and it was a live stream, and people would come in and like break stuff and beat the crap out of people, and it was wild. The line between, and a million people have written a million things about this, and so this is just me regurgitating nonsense, but the line between reality and content is ever shrinking, right, to the point where there was another TV show that was similar to this. I don't remember exactly what it was called. Again, I'm saying TV shows whose titles I don't remember, where the whole point of it was that they created an entire social ecosystem for a guy without telling him. So,
there's a brand new one. Are you talking about the juror
or jury duty?
The jury duty?
Maybe I am,
because that's one where there's 12 jurors in this thing. All 11 of them are actors and one of them isn't.
Yeah,
and he has no clue, and he's just
and they do a fake court case.
Yeah.
With actors playing the defendants and the judges and the lawyers, and then that person is a swing vote on whether or not the individual is guilty or not, which I think
that's awesome.
Yeah, stellar. It's great.
Yeah. Well, it's crazy that we can just say, let's take a guy. And the thing is, it's the funniest thing about it. I don't know if maybe they con him into signing some sort of disclosure beforehand, but if they go through all of that trauma or whatever, I hate to use that word, but if they go through all of that and then they wake up and they're like, you know what? I'm not going to sign the paperwork.
Yeah.
I'm not going to allow you guys to use my license for this. It was BS, and you made me sit in a courtroom for 6 weeks, right? I'm curious sort of how you were able to do that, because the thing about all the prank shows you've ever seen, Jackass, Bad Grandpa, Bad Trip starring Eric Andre, the new prank show from Eric Andre and Johnny Knoxville that Eric Andre walked off the set of after one season.
Actually?
Yeah. He hates Johnny Knoxville, apparently.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You have to walk up to every one of those people and get them to sign a release form. Every one of those people. And it makes you wonder, how much of Jackass was left on the cutting room floor. Because people refuse.
Give us the director's cut.
Yeah, give us the director's cut where everybody's faces are blurred out. That applies to, all that stuff. So it makes you wonder, how much is left on the cutting room floor? How do you even have that conversation? A classic example would be the Borat movies, right? Where, people actually, there's this whole cottage industry about this. Advocates advocates on the left and on the right do this all the time, where they have somebody come and do an interview under false pretenses, and then they invent a company, and they invent a persona, then they have the person come talk to them. And then they do the interview, and then they sign paperwork doing the release, and they're all it's all working under basically a shell corporation.
Yeah.
Right. I met a guy who did this for a living once, and it's insane stuff. He talked to me about how he did it, and essentially how he did it was he was this just normal kind of white Jewish guy. He was a little swarthy. He created a fake ethnic name, right, to sound South American. And then he was a Republican operative, and he would email prominent Democrats under this fake name and under something like a generic nonprofit as his job description, which his entire team would create fake information for, a website, quotes on. And then they would send him the email. The person's intern's not going to be looking too closely. They say, hey, there's this press opportunity. You should talk to this guy. They show up. They sign all the cease and desist information. They have the conversation. And then halfway through, you hit him with the gotchas, right? Right. And then, of course, it doesn't matter if they get up and walk off the set. You've got their signature. Right. And that's essentially how they did Borat.
Yeah.
So there's this, so Sacha Baron Cohen, I think, made 3 movies like this. There was Borat. There was Borat 2. The Dictator, I think.
There was another one that was a show.
There was
where
a
he played
show.
The Israeli commando.
Yeah, where he played the Israeli commando, and he that one, the one where they had guns for kids.
Yes,
that's a famous one. So they had guns for kids, where they would get a bunch of Republicans to show
yes,
up
I saw
and
that.
they would
I've
say
seen
like,
that
hey,
clip.
we support guns for kids, right? And essentially what that is he just sends these mass emails out. Everybody gets the email and they say, okay, well, and then maybe he convinces an operative on the other side to like advocate for him. They say, oh, this guy says you're cool. They show up, they read the script, they leave. And all of a sudden, 6.5 months later, they're on Sacha Baron Conan's TV show. And they're like, what the hell? I didn't sign up for this. So it's kind of a funny, both sides do it all the time. It's just
I wouldn't call it funny. I would
don't
call
think
it
so at all.
screwed up.
Yeah,
It's pretty terrible.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just
I
exploiting.
mean, I guess maybe
people.
you self-justify because it's in moral terms.
Yeah.
You're like, oh yeah, because the other side is so bad. My making up of this character and influencing them in such a way is
I think that's
justified.
a lot more justified than just a prank show. Right. So because one of them is just like, I legitimately feel convicted to make a social change within our country.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go do something to humiliate the other side in order to bolster my political party in
Yeah.
order to make a good political change. And then the other side is just like, haha, I made that guy run nude through the street while holding a gun up to his head, but I said it was a prank afterwards and made him sign a contract. And now I get a ton of money. And it's like,
I don't know. I feel like the beautiful simplicity of doing
That's
it for
true.
content is
Yeah.
almost more justified than the Machiavellian, work that goes into doing it
I
for
once read this article. I once read this article that said it was an opinion piece that was written when Borat 1 came out. And basically what it said was like, look, what Borat proves more than anything is that Americans are too polite. Right? Where like if there's a crazy person who's talking to them, our number one move is to agree. I've done this before in real life. Right? When somebody is saying something that I know is wrong, but I'm like, look, I can't have this conversation right now. I'm trying to go through my day. I'll go, it's pretty crazy, pretty wild that that's the case. And so I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. Did I ever tell this story about that Ukrainian man I met at the liquor store when I was in California?
I've heard that story. I don't think you've told it on the podcast.
yeah, go for it.
All right. So long story short, I'm on a business trip. It's a long travel day. It's very late. I get to my hotel and I'm like, I'm going to go and get a beer from the liquor store that's directly next door to the hotel. So I was like, I don't have to go anywhere. I just have to go to this liquor store. And I go in, I'm the only person in there. I grab the beer and I walk up, and it's a Eastern European man who begins a long lecture to me about how screwed up America is and how really if they listened to him,
Yeah.
he'd have all the answers.
He had Uber driver syndrome.
Yeah, Uber driver syndrome. One of the things, so a lot of stuff that he talked about. One of them was he's like, all these people are waiting to have sex until marriage. That is crazy. Other thing. I have figured out anti-gravity machine.
Yeah.
He's like, it's a simple science, it's simple math. If you were to find someone, the president of the United States, put me in front of them, I could tell them how to make the machine, and we would jump forward 100 years in science. So he's telling me all these things, and it was 25 minutes.
Yeah.
I could not escape. I kept being like, wow, that's crazy. Like, yeah, that's how it is sometimes. And I'd be like, wow, really? Yeah. And like everything was just happening with Ukraine. Yeah. Well, okay. I know. And that's the thing. I paid for my shit already. Like I could have walked away. But no.
But what if you wanted a beer later?
No. He did hold off on the full process until he was done giving his piece. So he like slowly but surely did the scan. He didn't ask for my card. He just sort of was like waited for a little bit and was like, oh, now you can give me your card. Like he really wanted to go through the whole conversation with me.
This is the guy working there.
Yeah. The man who owned the business.
Did not know that.
Yeah. And so while I'm in this conversation, I start to hear Russian being spoken very loudly and very aggressively in the back room. and I'm like, oh no. And this is purely prejudices. All right. I'm not.
Are you sure it wasn't Ukrainian?
I don't know.
That shows the foundation of your prejudice.
exactly.
Right there.
It was Eastern European.
It was Cyrillic. They're all the same. Maybe they should all be one country ruled by one guy. Maybe.
No, I'm not trying to justify this. This is like a terrible thing that went through my head where I was like, I will be sex trafficked. This is what's going to happen. They're going to break through here.
Yeah,
There's going to be
You'd
an
watch
attack.
Taken.
Yeah. And I'm going to be taken away. So he explained his whole situation about time travel, about anti-gravity machines, about being able to travel from California to the Ukraine in but 2 hours, and how he would implement a process to do that.
Is he a big like bullet train kind of guy?
Well, he was
Big Musk fan.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, honestly, he was.
Yeah,
Like, he was a Musk fan, dude. He was talking about the what is it called? The
Hyperlink or Hyperrail or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Hyperloop.
Yeah, there you go. So anyway, I know from firsthand that, I mean, I am one of those Americans. I am one of those chosen few who will just sit there and be like, yeah, crazy.
Did a guy walk up to you and ask you for your autograph?
Then again, it was very funny, though uncomfortable, and I knew I'd have a story to tell afterwards. So I kept it rolling as far as I could. And then a woman came in who had to buy a beer as well, and who bought a beer.
Everybody in LA is just buying singular beers.
Yeah. And so then she came in, and I used that as my opportunity. And literally up until the door, he was talking at me. And I opened the door. He kept talking at me. And I said, "See you later," and then left, implying that I would come back once again and see him. I thought about it. I thought it would be fun to go say hi to him before I left.
He thought he made a good friend, Dylan, and you broke his heart by not showing
that's
up
true.
the next day.
So here's the thing, though. This is the power of the petite bourgeois, right? This man has his own small business. He can inflict whatever he wants. He works so hard for that liquor store. And you walk in, you're on his turf. That's sovereign soil. He can tell you whatever he wants about whatever crockpot theories he has. These are secretly the most powerful men in America. Everybody's making fun of the big business dudes. It's guys who own like a tile business in the Midwest who have the real power. It's the Arabic guys who have the smoke shops. Like, those are the dudes who really control you.
Yeah, dude, crazy. Yeah. Wow. Anyway, I gotta go.
No, this is true. Look, okay.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, that's crazy.
Wait. Shad, do you by chance own the property in which we are presiding on right now?
I do not.
Are you a part of this petite bourgeois?
I do not. I rent this property.
Got his ass, dude.
Real quick. We can talk about this maybe later, but I read an article the other day about the most powerful demographic in America. It's not what you think, right? It's auto dealerships. We talked about this the other day. It's auto dealerships. Like something like 60% of the money that goes to Republican candidates in America is from auto dealerships and the auto dealership pack.
What?
We can talk about this later, perhaps, but you were going to pull your phone out.
Because we got some questions from the patrons.
Joel's like, no, I want to hear about this. Stick around. We'll talk about it more.
Yeah. We'll talk about it after this. Okay, so we're supported by patrons. This is how we're able to do the show, get the studio, all that jazz. We super appreciate your guys' support. I want to shout out our top patrons, right? First and foremost, Zach and Amber Strehle.
Bam.
Joe Papalardo,
Ooh.
Sammy Roberts, Luke Robson. Thank you so
go.
much for your support. We could not do this show without y'all.
Sorry for shitting on your brother, Joe.
No, I think he appreciates it.
Yeah.
I think that's why he tunes in, is for the Dominic Papalardo hate. If you guys are interested in supporting us, we've got a lot of different stuff. You can just search us up on Patreon. We got different tiers. Big one being our patrons who are at $5 tier can see that exclusive post-show, which is behind the paywall. So if you're interested in seeing more of this, then you can pay that to get in. And $10, you can start asking us questions and we'll answer them on the podcast. And so we've got Joe Papalardo with 2 questions. Okay. Joe Papalardo says, I got my girlfriend a gift of a vinyl record we both liked, but she thinks I got it just for myself. What are the guest and Straley's guidelines? Well, all of us are Straley's. Guidelines for buying your special someone a gift. Okay. So first and foremost,
I follow the Zach Strehle school.
Which is?
I just receive a text message 2 weeks before the date that says, hey, man, these shoes are pretty great. and then I buy them.
There you go.
Gentlemen, that's the move.
My wife and I both have conversations leading up to events like that in which my wife says, hey, so I was really thinking about getting this. Can I get it as my birthday present? I say, yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
I will buy that for you for your birthday present. And there you go.
There you go.
It's that easy.
Yeah.
But Silas is all romantic and he's still dating.
Yeah.
I think
you got a really banger present over the summer that you put together.
over winter
Over winter?
break.
No, was
What are
it
you
over
talking
winter
about?
break? Oh, when the Jane Austen
The book?
Yeah.
Yeah. My girlfriend really likes Jane Austen, and I don't know the last time I read a book for leisure and outside of school. It probably was in 5th grade. And I read all of Jane Eyre and annotated the whole thing, right? So that was a banger. But I think the difference...
Josh just said that book sucks.
Wow. My wife would have some words for you.
Yeah.
And Silas at least says he liked it.
Okay. I think there's a difference.
Girlfriend's like, Silas, do you like it? Yeah.
Yeah. I think going back to
The balls?
Joe.
Awesome. Best part.
Can I
Hey, pause. Pause. Pause.
No. I mean,
go
the
back to-
Regency balls. I mean, people going to dances. Okay, calm
I
down.
don't think there's even one of those in Jane Eyre.
I don't
bud.
think
Oh,
so.
really?
Yeah. I don't think there is.
I think you might be talking about something different
I
here,
think you're thinking
Shadrach.
about Jane Austen.
I was thinking about Pride and Prejudice, but okay, my
Okay,
bad. I
I'm gonna
assume
go
it's
back
a
to
Regency
Joe.
novel. I assume there'd be a ball.
Let me go back to Papalardo. Okay, let me
Yeah.
answer the patron question. I think that there's a separation between like getting a specific gift and then doing something that both you enjoy, and you can call that more of a date activity, in which would be, hey, I bought this record, let's listen to it. Obviously, both of us like mutually enjoy this thing, so we can do it. It's similar to like, going out to a restaurant that you both like, or doing an activity that you both
Costs
like.
about the same too. Nowadays.
Exactly. So it's like something that you're paying for as the boyfriend to go and have a similar experience with your significant other. And then when it comes to a gift, you go outside of that shared space and go into something. I think that makes it more meaningful, A, and then also obviously when it comes to the part and like you're married and you have the same checkbook and things like that, maybe you check with
You
each
guys have
other
the same
and make
checkbook?
sure
No.
that
I'm kidding.
you know what I mean? Where it's like that's probably
Dill,
more
you should
sure
Dill, you should
thing.
direct message Joe Papalardo right now and ask him what the record was, because I'm very curious. Yeah, actually, just call him. Yeah, call him.
I don't know if I actually have his number.
Oh my goodness!
My
this
phone's
is your
right there. Can you-
Patreon member.
Okay. What's the second question? Depending on if he doesn't answer.
Yeah. Second question is, any tips for getting back out into the dating world? Which is that bodes well.
Yeah. Here.
Gotta have it on the other side.
Come on, Joe. Don't fail us now. He's probably on a set right now. Actually, what time is it?
8:30.
Yeah, he's at a set right now. I assume. He's probably making people yuck right now, yucking it up.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. It's not looking like
I'm
it.
sorry.
Oh man, he was gonna go viral for that clip.
Yeah.
Yeah. We would have put that on YouTube Shorts.
Yeah. I
We've gone
answered my
crazy.
phone on the stage, and this happened.
Oh.
You gotta love the ones where they answer an audience member's phone, right? Oh, that's great. I love crowd work.
Oh yeah, super fun.
Yeah.
Joe Papalardo asks, any tips for getting back out into the dating world? Listen, Joe, first and foremost, asking questions like that is going to get you back out into the dating world.
That's true.
If you know one thing about hot singles in your area, they listen to Monomaniacs.
That's true. If they exist, they're listening to Monomaniacs.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. So first and foremost, I would go on the forums, and I would ask if there were any hot singles on the forums. Anybody looking for a little bit of a little piece of Papalardo action, then that would help. Also, I would say, Joe, you're a more self-confident individual than you used to be. I don't think I can give you any kind of direction that you don't already know.
Wow.
I
You're
think it's
better than me at this.
Yeah. All right. I'm not going to say what I was going to say. Okay.
So what about the dealerships?
The auto
man?
dealerships. I was being hyperbolizing. I was hyperbolizing a little bit with the 60%. It's near that number, though. I think it's like somewhere around 40. The big thing is...
It's a less than majority.
Yeah, less than majority, but
Still a lot.
large quantity of the money is small dealerships, as they like to describe themselves as.
Mhm.
I read an article about it, and essentially how it works is that ever since World War II, right, a group of dealerships got together and they went to the Washington, D.C., and they lobbied so that bills that delineated between luxury and non-luxury goods did not consider new cars luxury goods, right?
Mhm.
So that they could be produced at factories in Detroit,
Yeah.
right? Because how it essentially works is if something was a luxury good, then any major manufacturing group that was producing it would have to not produce it so that they could produce things like ammunition, leather belts, boots, things that our troops needed. So a bunch of petit bourgeois got together and decided, actually, our auto manufacturers should not be producing Humvees, nor should they be producing Shermans. What they should be producing is Cadillacs.
Yes.
And so they won that victory, and America proceeded to birth what is one of the strongest lobbying groups in America. All right, I think it's the American Dealers Association,
Gosh.
ADA. I think that's the acronym. They are they control mostly the entire Midwest lock and key, right? As far as anywhere where you have to drive from point A to point B in any consistency, they have an outsized influence. Now you might be wondering, how is it that one of the most anti-consumer purchasing methods ever invented is the standard for purchasing a car, right? Going to a dealership and buying a car is the worst thing a human being can do, right? It's basically, the Bataan Death March
Of capitalism.
of living in America, right?
Name a few. Okay.
No, I'm not saying it is the Bataan Death March. I'm saying it's the Bataan Death March of capitalism.
That was a metaphor, not a simile.
Yeah. Yes. I'm not saying it is as if it's the Bataan Death March.
Okay. Whatever.
What is the Bataan Death March of capitalism?
If you really think that just like going and having that's the most Straley thing I have ever heard in my life. No.
Maybe being poor, being born into poverty and institutionalized.
Yeah,
and being unable to break the cycle.
No. I'm not saying it's not about having a
It's like,
conversation.
if you're talking about like a long death march, are you not talking about like a 9 to 5 where you barely can scrape by the bills in order to like feed your family as
Okay.
one
But that
income household?
person then has to go to a dealership. Right?
To buy a car.
Yeah.
I do think that is what they're like. Son of a bitch. I hated my double shift today, but this is literally the worst thing I've had to deal with in my 40 years of life.
Okay. My bad. Okay. Sorry. All right. It's not as bad as working in an Amazon warehouse, but it's pretty bad, right? And the reason why it's allowed to be less than bad than the Bataan Death March of capitalism, I guess.
But worse than a paper cut, I guess. So somewhere in between
there, right, is because of the lobbying efforts of the ADA. And what it allows them to do is do things like be inaccurate about list pricing, require somebody to purchase a 30-year warranty for a car to get their car repaired only at that location, that sort of thing, right? All these things that ostensibly should have. Wait, what are you saying, Justin? Well, okay, I'm.
It's like 10 years.
Okay, 10-year max is what Josh says. Okay, 10-year max. All right.
See, this is the kind of vibe you're gonna get on the Dylan arc.
Is it anti-Shad moves? I'm not even gonna be here to defend myself. Okay, I didn't. Okay, all right. Long story short, right? They control most state houses through donations and allow themselves to continue these practices. So there's a reason why you can't buy cars online, even though most manufacturers want that to be the case. Something like Carvana is not available nationwide. Something like going to the Nissan website and saying, I want this specific Altima is something you cannot do because the local dealerships have made it so that they have to be the interfacing point between the consumer and the vehicle, right? That's why everybody in the industry hates Elon Musk, especially because you buy directly when you're buying Tesla. More often than not, you can buy them online, that sort of thing. And it's why...
that is the only reason people hate Elon Musk.
Yeah, it's the only reason.
That is it.
Only reason. I'm saying that's why people in the ADA hate Elon Musk so much. But they are adamant about securing any sort of governmental protections that they can to ensure that their business model survives. And the pandemic was huge for them because the price of cars went up so drastically. This also includes people who sell secondhand cars in a dealership rather than selling them, on Craigslist or whatever. Nobody buys cars on Craigslist anymore. Facebook Marketplace, the Craigslist of today. But yeah, so it's weird. They have an outsized influence. They're, as far as like small quantity donors, they have the highest representation in Republican candidacies. As far as Americans who make over $1 million in America, the most of them, if you were to take a group of people who make over $1 million a year in America, most of them are car dealership owners.
Wow.
Which is kind of astounding. But
listen, Vasily, I'll see you later. Thank you for the beer.
I mean, that is crazy though.
Yeah.
I haven't thought about that.
yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, well,
that's
why do you
crazy.
think that all these guys run for office? Have you noticed that? I mean, our state rep before our current state rep, Eric Lodhäuser, who's a good guy, goes to our church, but he used to be he is, I guess, his family owns a dealership. They still own it, right? It's still Lodhäuser? Yeah. It's still Lodhäuser. And then, they make a good amount of money. They're kind of propped up in the community. They don't actually have to sell that many cars. They get such large kickback that they don't actually have to turn over inventory very quickly, right? And it kind of sets you up for a political career. And a lot of people in this part of the country do that.
So what I'm hearing is down with the local car dealerships.
Well,
right?
I don't know if I would go so far as
Actually, we
would
can't
say-
say that out loud, or else we're gonna.
Yeah, I would say
we're gonna take a
literally
hit.
go out with a Molotov cocktail to your local.
No. I'm not saying that. I'm not,
No.
no. Of course not.
Yeah.
YouTube, I would never say such a thing.
Yeah. Wait, think
If I would, if I did, it was in Minecraft though.
Yeah.
The classic like alt-right thing that people do on YouTube, where they're just like, in Minecraft says anti-Semitic comment. And you're like, what?
Did you see that guy? I think he was in like Arkansas or something. He got arrested and then hit like the comment that they arrested him based off of because it was an actionable threat was like in Minecraft.
Yep.
Right? Everybody's like, I guess that's off the table now.
Yeah.
He was like, I'm going to take a Molotov cocktail. I'm going to throw it in the courthouse in Minecraft. It's like, well, we'll arrest you. It's not an option
See,
anymore.
once again, gamers are the most discriminated minority in America.
Yeah.
Example, billion out of a billion.
Numero uno.
Yeah.
Numero uno.
Yeah,
Okay, well,
'cause-
I'm sorry. I have this new thing now where I read the A-head every time it comes out. That wasn't an A-head article, but Wall Street Journal has this thing where they have this subsection called the A-head. And at my new job, I have a subscription so I can read Wall Street Journal. So I read the A-head, and it'll be stuff like the debate between refrigerated and unrefrigerated butter. And I'm like, all right, let's see what these guys are up to. And they'd be like, this small town's about to fall into anarchy because of somebody opened a tea house. And I'm like, oh, all right. Let's go and see what's going on in the middle of Rhode Island. So yeah, I'm now, my fun factitudes are just exploding into new dimensions.
Exactly.
It's out of control.
You're about to transcend.
I seriously am. I seriously am. Do you know that the finance minister of France writes erotic thriller novels that are becoming a major point of contention with the French electorate? I know that now.
Honestly, though, that is surprising for France. I would assume that they would glorify them to the point of prime ministership.
Well, actually, the fun fact about it, and the reason why they aren't glorifying him to the point of prime ministership is because they're bad. And people are like, look, you can write a sex book, but it better be a good sex book. They're very upset about how tactless he is in his
writing
fiction.
style.
Yeah.
How are you doing in time?
54. Okay, we're wrapping up. We're wrapping up. All
We're gonna
right.
have to start moving.
Well, Silas, what's your monomaniacal obsession?
Got something?
I watched Across the Spider-Verse
Oh
a couple days ago.
What
and that
about the
was-
most popular movie in America? What do you have to say about
the
it?
best movie I have seen in multiple years. Don't
Okay.
test me. absolutely stunning,
All right.
groundbreaking in every way, shape, and form.
Silas going with the party line, baby. He looks
out on a limb.
He's looking at Letterboxd. He's looking at Rotten Tomatoes. He's saying good movie.
Going out on a limb and saying a Spider-Man movie is a good movie.
Yeah.
People even say that about the bad ones. People are saying Spider-Man 3 is a good film. I mean,
Okay, but okay, right? Okay,
Yeah,
big
yeah.
shooter.
Oh, that was the third.
Yeah,
Rule
that's
three.
right. I told you I had to go.
That's
through.
Chekhov's gun. He's calling a shot.
No, but it unironically it like had my jaw on the floor the entire time. It was stunning in every way, shape, and form. Like I
Nice.
can't think of a better animated thing. Like as we know, I'm the anime guy, and I've watched a crap ton of anime. It is up there as the best animated thing that I've ever consumed in my entire life.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you've seen Attack on Titan.
Yes, this is true.
Joel's mad over
Joel's
there. How
depressed.
dare you
We
say
gotta
that
get the fourth, we
Spider-Man's
gotta get
better?
the, we gotta get the fourth mic ready for the Patreon so that
Yeah.
Joel can open a can of
Joel's
worms.
gonna hop on
It's
the
actually
mic.
we're just basically turning this into Maury. Where we get to the point of the show where we just like, oh,
What?
are you
Wait.
familiar with this? Maury, the show?
Well, yeah, go.
Yeah,
for it
yeah.
with
Who's the
this.
father?
Yeah.
No. So
Yeah,
you've never seen the show. In the third act of the show, they open the audience for questions, and basically what happens is they just they put a mic up, and guys who've just been sitting there like thinking about it the whole show will get up and they'll be like, "Yeah, I want something for the fat girl." They're like, "How many McChickens you ever eaten? A million?" You know, and then they just like, "Oh, kick your ass!" And, they fight, and then like adds a whole other element to it. So you know, we're gonna put the mic up, and Joel's gonna be like, "Question for the fat Strehle." He's gonna point at you.
Yeah, he's gonna walk up and be like,
Yeah.
I know this is crazy, but I don't like the Ku Klux Klan. Everybody, woo! Another successful episode of the Maury Show.
Yeah. I mean, it's insane that we used to be like that. TV used to be like the Geraldo show. Now, like Geraldo is like on television as a commentator, and he's doing like real political conversations or whatever. He would just have a show where it's like we put 4 Jewish guys and the Grand Dragon and the Ku Klux Klan in a room, and they talked. It's like nowadays you have to go to the weird part of YouTube to see that sort of thing. You have to go to PrankTube where it's like, you know, yelling at dudes in the hood, prank gone wrong.
Yeah.
To get that sort of conversation.
Yeah.
You know, we used to be a proper country.
Exactly. We used to have our discourse out in the public.
Yeah.
You know, for both entertainment and education.
So Maury actually, rest in peace. He just died.
Oh, really?
Yes, right?
Was that?
Was
that
it
Okay,
Maury?
so 2 things.
No. Was it?
That was a while ago.
No, it wasn't Maury. It was
Springer.
Springer. Jerry Springer died.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
Jerry Springer died. Who has the same show? Had the same show. He. You know why? You know why he got famous?
Why, Shad?
He was mayor of Cleveland,
Yes, this is a great
or
story.
was it Cincinnati?
One of the two.
One of the two in Ohio.
Yeah,
one
it's
of the
Ohio.
seniors.
Anyway, he
It's
lost
all
his
the same.
job because he paid for a prostitute.
Okay.
And then he went into television and started doing, you know, You're Not the Father
You're not the
stuff.
father.
But
Yep.
he, there's this one of the greatest political ads of all time. I almost kind of want to play it. I don't know. I might put it in here. Who knows? To close out the show, is him running for state rep. No, not for state rep. Running for Congress. He's running for House of Representatives, and he gets up and he's like, "Look, I'm just going to be frank with you. You know, when I was mayor, someone found a check, and with that check, I paid for sex. But would you rather have somebody who's dishonest be in Congress? That's why you should vote for me."
It's a great argument.
Yeah, and then later he was trying to separate the Ku Klux Klan from the Black Panthers live on television. I don't know.
What a man.
What a man, truly.
See, what a
Truly.
meteoric rise, honestly. All right. See you guys at the Patreon.
Bye.
Bye.